The MTDCNC podcast, sponsored by Langley Alloys, unique metals for demanding applications, providing first-class performance and an international service.
How can you be more efficient in your company? Well, I'm here with Shaun from the Hoffmann Group to find out how Hoffmann can help you. Shaun, before we get into being more efficient and reducing costs, can you give us a brief background on who you are?
Yeah, so my name's Shaun and I'm the Area Sales Manager Team Leader at Hoffmann Group UK. I've been with Hoffmann now for just under 3 years. However, I've worked as a sales professional within the industrial tooling supply industry for the last 10 years. So I've got a bit of a comprehensive background. I understand the current frustrations for customers, not just in terms of sourcing, but also the labour shortages, the skill gaps. So working with customers has been a big part of my life for the last 10 years in the engineering and manufacturing industries. So now my role for Hoffmann Group is to lead a team of highly skilled professional area sales managers to go off to Hoffmann's customers and really get the message across about our own way to approach the marketplace, which is to improve efficiencies, reduce costings, and just make sure that the customers that we are dealing with are more successful overall.
So let's start with efficiencies and then we'll move on to reducing costs.
Yeah.
So what processes and technologies can you implement to enhance your customers' operational efficiencies?
So the main one that we can do, the most obvious one, is our inventory management systems. So this can include anything from vending control or going down to weigh bins and scales, so perhaps a little bit more of a manual consignment system. Really just finding the right solution for a customer in that industry to control their stock and control their spend a lot better. We can do this by introducing our own vending experts to go onto the site, understand your needs and processes and what it is that you're completing on the site, as in the jobs, and then they go back to you with a tailored solution. So we don't just offer one solution and that's the same for every customer that we deal with. We understand you as the customer and we give you a tailored solution to suit your needs.
Now, obviously, like you said, everybody's different.
Yes.
So how do you track and measure them efficiency improvements?
So we track and measure through what we call operational savings reports. So here at Hoffmann, we're not just we'll ship you a product, deliver that to you, and then walk away. We want to make sure that that product is the right thing for your job. So our product experts, which are in applications, which is cutting tools and work holding, we have PP experts as well, and we also have work holding, workstations experts who go to your site and they're targeted to monitor and detail just where we've helped improve efficiency across the site. So that could be most of all through acquisition cost. Are we keeping up with your current competitors at the moment about your purchasing? But how much better in the long run is that product that we've recommended to you?
So when we're talking about being efficient, that's fine, but what are some of the main key inefficiencies you see on a daily basis?
The main ones that we see on a day-to-day basis is where customers have no control of stock and there's no traceability of it either. So it's a little bit of a free-for-all. So anybody from any department can go to a single place, pick up what they want, and then take that away. We'd like to think that most of the time that is generally what they need and that's for the job that they're working on. But how do you know that that tool, that product is being used for that job and not going elsewhere? So the efficiencies mostly that we see come through lack of control. So with us introducing the right inventory management solution to a customer, that gives them better control as well. And then ultimately what that does in turn is reduces their spend in the long term as well.
Now, obviously, you're talking about picking individual processes to make better. So how do you actually pick them processes? Because obviously if a whole company's being inefficient, how do you pick, say, the main one to focus on first?
That's really where we come as account managers to the customer to say, what are your current pain points? What is it that's led you to this conversation of us being on the site and talking about inventory management? So really that's all dependent on the customer. Like I said earlier, every customer is different. Everyone has different requirements and different needs, and they also have different pain points as well. So we come and we effectively listen to the customer to understand their main pain points, get that dealt with first, and then really once you deal with those main pain points, the rest of it, it's like a domino effect. They become easier to knock down.
Now, obviously, to become efficient once you've been inefficient for quite a long time, most of the time comes with a cost. So is cost one of the main problems you see in trying to implement your procedures to make a company more efficient, even if in the long run they'll actually be spending less than they would before?
Yeah, it is a bit of a pain point. Customers obviously think that with the investment of the technology within, let's say, a vending machine, for example, that they're going to have to pay an arm and a leg to have that sort of technology on their site, especially if they've never had this sort of technology before. However, that's not exactly true. So you can, by just switching your spend over to Hoffmann and not having to spend any more than what you're currently doing, have a vending machine or have some sort of inventory management control on the site without having to spend anything. We do work it on a sliding scale agreement as well. So that means if you don't achieve a certain spend, it does go down in increments. However, our sliding scales are extremely achievable. And like I say, with the money that you're already spending elsewhere without the control, just by shifting a proportion of that to Hoffmann means that you'll be eligible for waived monthly rental on the sliding scale. So you don't have to spend any more to give you control there on the site. In actual fact, if you spend what you do now, move that over to Hoffmann, and we implement the right inventory management for you, we actually suspect that your spend's going to drop in the long term by about 30 to 40% because you've never had that sort of control in the first place.
And obviously, I think it comes to a point where companies need to be a lot less short-sighted. They need to look at the long-term effects of what a system like this can actually do.
Yes.
And how it can help them.
Yes, and that's why we document all of it. So the operational savings reports, that's not just for the products, it's also for the inventory management solutions that we put into place as well. So we can even monitor your current walk and wait time. So how long is it taking your team to leave their department, walk to a stores room, for example, get their product, and then come back, where we introduce a certain inventory management solution closer to where they're working. We can monitor that on the walk and wait time. Walk and wait time is absolutely massive, and it's a hidden cost that you don't see. We all see the cost of the initial product, but we don't see the hidden costs of raising a purchase order all the time, the walk and wait. It's all those little things that we monitor and detail back to the customer through operational savings reports.
But obviously, they're things you look for, which not many people do. There's not many companies that look at the walk and wait time because you just sort of expect it.
Yes. So
you don't really think, oh well, actually, me taking 2 minutes every time I need to go and fetch a tool. But actually,
2 minutes is actually very good if that's all you're doing to get a tool.
But then if you take that 2 minutes a day, over a month, over a year, it's going to add up. It's
going to add up. So, yes, okay, most people will look at the product as the initial cost saving. So if I came up to you and said, I can guarantee I save you 10% on the products that you're buying, really, in effect, I'm not saving you that much money off your consumables. But if I can come in and increase your productivity and make you more efficient, you're ultimately going to be making more as a business because you're producing more and you're getting more out of your work team as well. So that's where Hoffmann are a little bit different. It's not just where we can save you money on a product. We obviously can through acquisition, but we want to go that little bit deeper and save you money through improving your efficiencies on the site.
And we've spoke quite a lot about efficiencies, and we will move on now to reducing costs. But I think just before we move on, we just need to sort of get across. That's what's great about Hoffmann is that it's not one person talking to every customer about every part of their business. You have experts in every field who have done it. They've been there. They've got the experience to back up what they're telling you.
Yes. So all of our ATs are time served on CNC machines. So they've got the complete knowledge of them. Our ATs as well, they are the longest serving members of staff for the Hoffmann Group, so they know the products like the back of their hand. They're very confident with it. They're able to go to the site, run your machine, increase the speeds and the feeds, so you're getting the most optimal tool performance as well. Our PPE experts are all NEBOSH trained and IOSH as well accredited, so they can go to your site, identify problems. Perhaps the guys on the health and safety managers haven't even seen themselves, and they can recommend the right product for that job as well. And then our workstations and storage experts, they go to the site and go, have you considered the ergonomic benefits of your staff as well? Because if they're feeling better, they're going to be producing more work. They're going to work harder.
So they're not just looking out for the work, they're looking out for the employees.
Yes,
as
exactly.
well.
If the employees are satisfied, they're going to be more happy in their workplace, which ultimately is going to help you produce more.
Now, obviously, that's quite a lot of efficiencies and great background on Hoffmann. So let's move on now to reducing costs.
Mm-hmm.
And the big one, I think, to start off with is technology. And how does technology, what role does technology play in helping you reduce costs?
Okay, so if we consider a vending solution, for example, so how it would reduce your costs is you can put more control and restrictions on. Now, what that means, it's not a case of Big Brother watching everything that the guys do on the site, but it's definitely making sure that you're using the right product for the right job in a controlled manner. So if you've got the right tool doing it, it's going to create more efficiency by being there and creating more, lasting longer in the future sort of thing. And also with the control, instead of the guys going up to an open basket and taking 10 pairs of gloves that they possibly don't need, I'm not too sure, but most of the times they don't always need that amount of gloves, you can restrict that down to one a day. So if they're taking 10 to last them a week and you reduce it down to one a day, you've just halved that one employee spend for the week. So it's all about finding the right job, the right tool, and the right way of serving your employees on the site. You've got to keep them safe. There's a duty of care, but you can still do that whilst controlling it a little bit better.
Now, obviously, we're talking a lot about reducing costs. So how do you, at Hoffmann, how do you ensure that our cost reductions are sustained over time?
Yeah, so that goes back into the operational savings reports, and it also goes into business reviews as well. So what our account managers do, they're targeted to go on a regular basis to our customers to present data to them of the last 3-4 months of product usage on the site. So that's something that we can do. We've got a member of staff who's very, very, very good at working with the data, and he can present it into a format which is, accessible to the customer, because sometimes we can look at data and it makes sense to us at Hoffmann, but when we present that to the customer, they might not be quite understanding. So he kind of puts it in a nice format, a PowerPoint presentation, where we can show these have been your high runners over the last 3-4 months. These have been your low runners. Our suggestion is we remove some of the low runners and then increase the top runners. We don't do that just off our own back. We always ask you, because we don't know if those low runners are there for a reason. They might be site critical. It might have been a job that's gone away but is coming back in the future. But with the business reviews, that's our chance for Hoffmann to understand what's going on and for the customer to understand what's going on. And that's where we show the last 3-4 months of operational savings reports as well, where we've increased efficiency on the site.
Now, obviously, even we spoke about some of the challenges you face when you're trying to make a company more efficient.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to ask you the same question again. So do you sort of hit roadblocks, and do you find problems when you're trying to reduce someone's cost by changing end mills and changing procedures?
Yeah.
Do you sometimes get customers who are a bit worried about, and it's the age-old saying, and it's one of the worst sayings ever, but it's, we've always done it this way?
Yes.
Trying to change someone's mindset. Do you ever get problems in that, but then once you've actually been there, done it, proven it, you've changed the customer's mind and how they look at things?
Yeah, that's a regular occurrence, and it's actually something that at the beginning of when I started becoming a sales professional within this industry was quite frustrating. But actually, when you take it away from your work life and think about your own personal life, if somebody was trying to do that with you, you'd find it frustrating. I've always done it this way. It's always worked for us. So the challenge that we do face is perhaps, yes, there's that. There's also, well, what you're offering me as an initial product is perhaps more expensive than what we currently use now. So there's that element to it. But what we do is we prove it through the operational savings report. We put it on paper, just how more cost effective over the course of a week, a month, a year, just how much more money you're going to save with Hoffmann. And we put that in pound notes for you. So we do all the running of the tools, for example, on an operational savings report, and then show you, we fully document it, how it's going to save you money, which then you can take to your bosses and say, yes, okay, it is perhaps more expensive to acquire straight away, but over the long run, we're going to get so much more tool benefit off it that it's going to reduce our costs over the course of a month. And that operational savings report as well is signed by Hoffmann, and we also get the customers to sign it as well. So once they've understood it and once they know that that tool is going to be saving them money, they sign it off as well.
So if we go into sort of the deeper insights of that report,
Yeah.
have you found that customers are more willing to proceed with an order and actually implement more strategies?
Yes.
Because they've got this data presented.
Yes.
And like you said, presenting it in pound notes, not percentages, they know exactly where it's coming from.
Yeah, once, because like we said, there's obviously a little bit of shying away from it to begin with, but once you've detailed it and showed the customer that first one, then they start to understand it. It's just a little bit difficult because there is nobody else on the marketplace doing what Hoffmann UK do, as in presenting you savings on a long term, guaranteeing you savings as well. There's obviously people out there that would do business plans with you in the hopes that it will save you money, but it's that main word. We guarantee to save you money. And once the customers get on board with that and start understanding the operational savings reviews, they actually start then coming to us to say, where else can we do this? Where else can we document where we're perhaps not getting the top efficiencies of the products? And in the end, they're non-stop calling you to say, can we do it on this? Can we do it on that? So yeah, it's just getting over that first hurdle. But once you do, the customer absolutely loves finding out where they can be saving money.
And actually, that brings me into my next question, which is, where are the main areas where these deeper insights have really helped a customer take that next step? Because obviously, it's all right if you go in and say, right, you're going to save X amount of money just by changing to this end mill. But that's part of what you guys do. But you guys go like really deep into the business. So, so as well as you saving money there, you walk and wait time. And like you said, there's nobody else on the market doing this.
No, there's nobody else doing it. But really, the biggest cost savings that we see come through to us are through the inventory management solutions. And we can offer a mass amount of data to customers to show this as well. To those customers who haven't got vending currently on the site or any form of inventory management, once you've got it in and it's implemented, then the machines can send you monthly or weekly or even daily reports about the usage on the site as well. We can send you usage reports through our own SAP system. That totals it as pound notes as well. And you start getting an impression over the course of 2, 3, 4 months, just how much money you are actually saving by having the correct inventory management solution. And like I said, it's normally somewhere in between 30 to 40% if you haven't got any sort of protection or inventory control at the moment.
Now, last question just before we finish, because we've gone through so much in it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I've learned a lot about Hoffmann I didn't know before. So obviously, once you've got that data and you've got that insights, how do you then turn that into actionable strategies?
Yeah, so that goes back into the business reviews as well. So everything that's took from the data from the machines and the data from our own SAP systems is then fed back into the account managers who then present this all to you. So there's never a point where any data, be it through usage or costings or whatever else we're doing with you, that's hidden. It's always up front, whether you receive that on a time schedule to suit yourself, or our account managers are going to the site to present that to you on a regular business review.
Well, Shaun, I would just like to thank you from me and everyone
Thank
at
you.
MTD for your time and your insight, and your knowledge is unreal.
Thank you.
Now, for everyone at home, if they would like more information on this topic, then they can contact you at the Hoffmann Group UK.
Yeah.
And I would just like to thank our sponsor of this episode, which is Langley Alloys. Don't forget, this podcast is being recorded, and it's been filmed. So if you want to listen to it or you want to watch it, you can actually do both. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the MTDCNC podcast, sponsored by Langley Alloys, specialists in a wide range of exotic materials for any application for all your engineering needs.